In this video, we will teach you how to tie the gold rib hare's ear nymph. Hook is a 1x long nymph hook, thread brown 6/0, tail a guard hairs from a hare's mask, abdomen hare's mask dubbing, rib gold oval tinsel, wing case turkey tail fibers, thorax hare's mask dubbing. So today we're going to tie the gold rib's hare's ear, and we're going to start off by attaching the thread to the hook. I like to tie it right an eye length behind the eye of the hook. Lift the tag end up, run the thread, trim it off, and bring your thread to the bend of the hook. And for this, the bend lines up right with the barb of the hook. Next, we will take some guard hairs from a hare's ear mask around by the cheeks, and we'll measure it to the shank of the hook. The tail should only be about 2/3 the shank of the hook, and I will transfer that to the bend of the hook and secure that into place using the pinch method, putting the thread in between the thumb and index finger. And there's my tail. Next, I will add the oval tinsel. I will tie that underneath the shank of the hook right at the bend. Just catch it with the thread, run it up, back, and secure this all under the shank of the hook and right at the bend of the hook. And then you can just trim any excess material you have left. Now we're going to dub the abdomen. Now, you take a small amount of fur. If you could see through the fur, it's good enough to twist onto the thread. I do not use dubbing wax because when you use less fur, it's easier to apply to dub onto the thread. But if you have problems, I would suggest just touching the thread with a little bit of wax and twisting it on, or adding the wax to your fingers. So what I'm going to do with this body, I'm going to start off thin at the bend, and then as I get up towards the eye, and the body is only going to be 2/3 the shank of the hook, I'm going to increase the taper. So I'm starting off pretty thin towards the bend, but as I go up towards the eye, I will fill in some spaces and start creating a tapered body as I go towards the eye of the hook. The dubbing I'm using is hare's ear mask. You could either purchase it at any fly shop, or take a hare's mask and throw it in a coffee blender. I usually do that, or you can just rip it apart with your hands to make your dubbing, and just grind it up in a coffee grinder with the guard hairs, and you'll get a really nice darker blend, lighter blend, depending on where on the mask you grab the fur. And I find that the fur is easier to use when you when you blend it yourself. Getting a little thicker, getting to the 2/3 mark, which I'm very close to right now. Just going to add a little more. And if you use less, very thin dubbing, the body is going to be stronger and it will last longer. Now I'm going to take the ribbing. Now remember, my dubbing went over the top and under the bottom. The ribbing material goes in the opposite direction. It goes underneath and over the top. And what we're trying to do is get a nice, even segmentation. 3, sometimes you can get 4. Hold it up and just pass your thread. Well, that didn't work for me. I gotta try again. Sometimes when you're wrapping, you gotta watch where your thread hits the tinsel. It'll move it on you. So I will secure it in place. The other problem is I have a camera in front of me that blocks part of my view. So there's the ribbing. Let's just make sure that's secure into place. I like to have the wrap underneath. Okay, so there's the ribbing. Now I'm going to tie in the wing case. I take turkey tail, I spray it with a clear coat, let it dry overnight. My turkey tail fibers, I take a section of it, and the section will be thicker than the body, so that when I fold it over, it'll house the legs of the thorax. So I just tie that right into place, right up against where I stopped, and let it lay over. Now I'm going to make a dubbing loop. Not only will this make me a fuller thorax, but it will also help me make legs for the Gold Ribs Hares here. So I have a loop, and what I'm going to do is take some fur, going to stick it in between the loop. Other people have used a needle and split the thread. I'm just doubling the thread to form a loop, so that I could just stick the fur in between the two threads. And once again, it's best if it is a little sparse, but here it is. The guard hairs will stick straight up on both sides. And then twist your hook that creates the dubbing loop. Make it nice and tight. Make it a nice tight loop. Take any of the guard hairs, the fur that is not secure, and what we'll do is we will wrap first over the wing case, so that when we fold it over, it doesn't have a gap in between the thorax and abdomen. And as we go, as we make the thorax, we stroke the guard hairs backwards, and if you need to make another loop to add more fur, just secure that off, cut it, and create another loop. And just one more patch of fur, twist it. Take any of the ones that are loose and stroking the fibers back. As you get close to the eye, tie it off, cut the excess. I like to pull the fibers front and back, left and right, fold over the wing case now, make sure it's flat. See how that looks now? Pull it up. Cut it right off and build a nice head. Whip finish it. Trim it off. Take some head cement and just drop it right on the threads. And that is your finished Gold Ribs Hares ear. Simple pattern, easy to tie, and an extremely effective pattern.